My name is Avery Quinn. I'm 32 years old, and the night my family tried to erase me from their perfect picture started at my parents' 40th wedding anniversary party. I walked into the house in suburban Chicago, expecting the usual mix of forced smiles and small talk. Instead, 38 relatives were already seated at the long dining table stretched across the living room, every chair taken, except the one shoved at the far end like an afterthought. No one stood up. No one said welcome. A couple of cousins glanced over, then turned back to their conversations, as if I had interrupted something important. I sat down anyway, hands in my lap, watching plates of food pass without anyone offering me a serving. My sister, 4 years older and always the golden child, was laughing at the head table with our parents. Then my mother stood up, glass in hand, ready for a toast. Instead, she walked straight to the wall where the family photos hung in neat rows. She reached up, pulled down 3 framed pictures from my parents' wedding renewal and my high school graduation, everyone that included me, and ripped them off the hooks one by one. Glass cracked on the hardwood floor. The room went dead quiet. She dropped the broken frames into the trash bin they'd placed, right there, for some reason looked directly at me and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "This girl has no place in our memories anymore. She's been nothing but a disappointment." My father didn't stop her. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, and added, "If you're still here looking for handouts, you owe us every dollar we spent putting you through college. Pay it back or get out." My sister stood up next chair, scraping back, and pointed toward the front door like she was ushering out a delivery person who had overstayed. "Go on, Avery. Don't ruin the night." I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I grabbed my purse, walked out, and drove home in silence, the humiliation burning in my chest. They thought that was the end of it. They had no idea what I was about to uncover or how badly their little performance was going to cost them. If you want to know how one humiliating family party turned into the night my parents finally paid for years of lies and betrayal, stick around until the end. I got home around 10:30, parked in my usual spot, and went straight to my laptop without turning on any lights. The drive had given me time to think, but not about the humiliation. About the way my mother had reached for those frames so quickly, like she had planned it. And the trash bin already positioned right there. It felt rehearsed. I logged into my old email account first, the one I used back in college when my mother insisted on helping me manage things. She had set up auto-forwarding from my personal email to hers years ago, claiming it was for safety. I had never bothered to change it. Tonight I did. While the settings updated, I pulled up my credit report from all 3 bureaus. The alerts had been pinging for months, small drops I dismissed as glitches, but now I clicked through every line. There they were. 3 mortgage accounts I had never applied for. 2 home equity lines of credit. All opened in the last 4 years, all using my social security number and my old childhood address. The mailing address on every statement was my parents' house. The phone number listed was my mother's cell. One of the loans had been used to buy a rental property in the suburbs, then quickly refinanced. The proceeds showed up in a joint account I recognized my father's business checking. I opened a new folder on my desktop and started saving everything. PDFs, screenshots, timestamps. Then I searched the county property records online. The rental house popped up immediately. Deed in my name, co-signed by my mother as power of attorney. Power of attorney I had never signed. The signature looked close enough to fool a notary, but I knew my own handwriting. It wasn't mine. My phone buzzed. A text from my sister. "You really had to make a scene tonight. Mom's upset. Just apologize and we can move on." I stared at the message for a second, then saved the screenshot to the folder. No reply. The next morning, I called the county recorder's office. They confirmed the documents were filed properly. Then I pulled my full credit history again, this time going back 10 years. More accounts, a second property, a small commercial lot, all tied to the same pattern. And then I saw the name that made my stomach drop. My Aunt Evelyn, My mother's older sister showed up as a co-borrower on two of them. She lived in a modest condo she had owned outright for decades. Why would she suddenly need loans against properties in my name? I texted my aunt. Hey, it's Avery. Can we talk privately? Something came up about some paperwork. She replied within minutes. Come over whenever. I've been waiting for someone to ask. I drove to my aunt's condo that same afternoon. She opened the door before I knocked, looking like she hadn't slept well. We sat at her kitchen table, no small talk. I slid my laptop over and opened the folder with the property records. She scanned the screen, then pushed her glasses up. These are the houses I thought I sold years ago. My mother, your grandmother, helped me list them when I needed cash after the divorce. Your mother handled the paperwork. She said it was easier that way. I asked if she had ever seen the sale proceeds. She shook her head. She told me the market was bad, fees ate everything up. I got a check for about $20,000 total. The rest supposedly went to closing costs. I pulled up the current tax records. The properties were still owned under a trust. The trust beneficiary listed me as primary with my mother as trustee. My aunt stared. I never signed anything for a trust. We spent the next hour going through her old files. She found a stack of envelopes from the title company statements showing full sale prices over $200,000 each. She had never received them. My mother had forwarded only the final settlement sheet, the one with the tiny check attached. Her phone rang. It was my cousin Nathan. She put him on speaker. Mom, you okay? You sounded off earlier. My aunt looked at me. Nathan, Avery's here. We're looking at some old real estate deals your aunt handled for me. Come over if you can. He arrived 20 minutes later carrying a binder. I've been keeping notes for 3 years. I knew something was wrong when Mom kept getting collection calls for loans she never took out. I told her to check her credit. She did. Nothing showed up in her name, but my name was on a couple of applications. He opened the binder. Photocopies of loan apps with his signature forged. Addresses matching my parents' house. One loan funded a down payment on a duplex that later sold for profit. The profit wired to my father's business account. Nathan looked straight at me. I didn't say anything because your mother threatened to tell everyone I was the one who messed up the paperwork. Said I'd lose my job at the bank if it came out. But seeing your name on the deeds, that's too far. My aunt reached over and squeezed his hand. We need everything. Bank statements, emails, anything you have. I started a shared drive on my laptop. We uploaded the binder scans, the title statements, the loan apps. By the time we finished, the folder had grown to over 40 documents. Nathan added one last thing, a recorded phone call from 2 years back. My mother telling him, "Sign this quick, it's just routine. Don't worry your mom about it." I saved the audio file. Then I said, "This isn't just about me anymore. This is a pattern." Nathan nodded. What's next? I told them I would contact a real estate attorney first thing tomorrow. Someone who handled fraud cases. No more waiting for answers from family. The next morning, I called the real estate attorney whose name kept coming up in fraud forums. Her name was Karen Ellis. She listened to my summary over the phone for 10 minutes, then said, "Bring everything you have. In person. Today if possible." I printed the entire folder, bound it, and drove to her office downtown. Karen reviewed the documents page by page. She highlighted the forged power of attorney, the mismatched signatures, the trust documents with my aunt's name, but no notarization record. "This isn't sloppy paperwork," she said. "This is organized fraud. Your mother used her real estate license to facilitate it. That's license revocation territory." She asked if I had spoken to anyone else in the family. I mentioned my aunt and cousin. She nodded. "Good. Get their affidavits. We'll need sworn statements that they never authorized the loans or trusts." I left with a retainer agreement and a list of next steps. That afternoon, I met my aunt and cousin again. They signed affidavits in front of a notary. My aunt added one detail that changed everything. "Your mother once showed me a document she said was for tax purposes. It was actually a quitclaim deed transferring one of the properties to your father's company. I signed it because she said it was temporary. I trusted her." Nathan pulled out his phone. "I recorded that conversation too. She told me the same thing about a different property. I have the file." We added the new recordings and the quitclaim copy to the drive. Karen's office requested copies that evening. 2 days later, my mother showed up at my studio unannounced. The receptionist buzzed me. "There's a woman here. Says she's your mother. She's pacing." I walked out to the front. She stood there in her blazer folder, under her arm, smile tight. "Avery, we need to talk. Privately." I gestured to the open lobby. "Right here is fine. Everyone can hear." Her smile dropped. "I know you've been digging into old deals. Stop it. This is family business. You're going to ruin everything for no reason." I kept my voice even. "The reason is fraud. Forged signatures. Properties bought in my name without my knowledge. My aunt and cousin have already given statements." She stepped closer. "You think you can just turn on your own mother? After everything I did for you, I built those deals to help the family. You were part of it, whether you knew or not." I pulled the printed summary from my bag, the one Karen had prepared. Dates, loan amounts, forged documents, all highlighted. Help doesn't involve lying to a notary or using someone else's identity. Her face hardened. "If you file anything, I'll countersue for defamation. Your sister will testify that you were always difficult. The whole family will back me." I looked her in the eye. "Then let them. The records don't lie." She snatched the summary, crumpled it, and dropped it on the floor. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life." Then she turned and left, heels clicking hard on the tile. My receptionist watched the whole thing. After my mother was gone, she said quietly, "That was intense. You okay?" I nodded. "Better than okay. That just made things official." I called Karen immediately. She answered on the first ring. She showed up. "Yes. Threatened a countersuit. I have the lobby security footage if you need it." Karen laughed once. "Perfect. We'll add witness intimidation to the list. File the complaint with the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation tomorrow, and the FBI's fraud unit. This crosses state lines with the wire transfers." The next day, Karen filed the formal complaint with the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation. She attached the affidavit's property records, forged documents, and the audio files. The DFPR opened an investigation within 48 hours. They contacted my mother for her response. A week later, an investigator from the DFPR called me. He asked for clarification on the power of attorney dates and the trust setup. I answered every question directly. No emotion. Just facts. He said the evidence was strong enough for an emergency suspension of her real estate license pending full review. Karen then forwarded copies to the FBI's Chicago field office. The wire transfers from the loan proceeds crossed state lines, and the amounts exceeded the threshold for federal fraud charges. An agent named Special Agent Reyes reached out. He requested a virtual interview. I sent him the shared drive link and scheduled the call. During the interview, he focused on the pattern. "We see this sometimes, family members using licenses to mask identity theft. How many properties total?" I told him 5. All purchased between 2018 and 2023. All refinanced or sold quickly. Profits funneled to my father's construction business. Agent Reyes noted the quitclaim deeds. "Those are red flags. We'll subpoena the title companies for original files." My sister called that evening. Her voice was tight. "Mom's freaking out. The DFPR sent someone to her office. She says you planted this, that you hate the family so much you'd make it up." I kept it short. The documents speak for themselves. If she has proof I forged anything, let her show it. She paused. "Dad's talking about selling the house. The business is already behind on payments. You happy now?" I said, "I'm not the one who signed other people's names." She hung up. 2 days after that, my aunt called. "The investigator interviewed me this morning. I told them everything. Your mother tried to call me afterward. I didn't pick up. Nathan texted me a screenshot. It was an email from the DFPR to my mother, formal notice of suspension. Her license was inactive effective immediately. No more closings. No more commissions. Karen updated me the following week. The FBI had issued subpoenas for bank records. My father's business accounts showed deposits matching the loan disbursements. One transfer even had a memo line, family loan, dated the same day as one of my forged applications. Then came the twist. During the bank review, records showed my sister had co-signed 2 of the loans. She had initialed pages but claimed she never read them. My mother told her it was just paperwork to help Dad's company. The amounts were small enough she didn't question it. Until now. Karen said, "Your sister's in a gray area. She might face civil liability, but if she cooperates and testifies, the focus stays on your parents." I told Karen to offer her sister a deal through the process. Full disclosure in exchange for no criminal referral. My sister accepted the next day. She sent Karen a statement admitting she signed without understanding. She also forwarded emails where my mother instructed her to just initial here, don't worry about the details. The net was tightening. Every piece of new evidence pointed back to the same 2 people. They had built their comfortable life on documents that weren't theirs to sign. The fallout arrived in waves over the next 3 months. First, the DFPR issued a formal revocation of my mother's real estate license. The notice letter stated multiple violations of fiduciary duty, identity fraud, and falsification of documents. She was barred from the industry for life. My father's construction business collapsed next. The bank froze his accounts after the FBI subpoena revealed the source of the deposits. Suppliers stopped extending credit. He had to lay off his crew of 12. The company filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy 2 weeks later. All assets, including the equipment and trucks, went up for auction. The house followed. A realtor's sign appeared in the front yard within days of the bankruptcy filing. My parents listed it for quick sale to cover debts. The listing price dropped twice in 1 month. Neighbors started asking questions. Relatives who had attended the anniversary party began pulling away. My aunt told me several cousins had quietly checked their own credit reports after hearing whispers. My father called once. His voice sounded smaller than I had ever heard it. "We have to sell everything. The business is gone. Your mother can't work in real estate anymore." "Is this what you wanted?" I answered calmly. "This is what happens when you use other people's identities to fund your life. You had choices. You chose this." He didn't argue. He just said, "We thought we were protecting the family." Then he hung up. My sister reached out next. She texted a photo of the for sale sign. "Mom's moving to an apartment. Dad's staying with a friend. I can't afford to help them both. You won." I replied, "I didn't win anything. I stopped the theft." She sent one more message. "I should have asked more questions. I'm sorry." I didn't respond. The apology came too late. The civil lawsuit settled out of court. My aunt and grandmother received restitution for the properties sold under their names. The court ordered my parents to pay back the loan proceeds plus penalties. They liquidated retirement accounts and personal savings to cover it. The check arrived in my aunt's mailbox first. She called me, crying happy tears. "Thank you for pushing this forward. I can finally breathe." Nathan texted me updates. He had started a new job at a different bank. His record stayed clean because he cooperated early. My aunt sold her condo and moved closer to her grandchildren. Both were rebuilding without the shadow of old debts. The final piece came when the FBI closed its file. No criminal charges against my parents yet. The evidence supported civil fraud, but the U.S. Attorney's Office declined prosecution due to their age and lack of prior record. It didn't matter. The damage was done. They had lost the house, the business, the reputation, and most of the family connections they once flaunted. My parents moved into a small rental on the edge of town. No more anniversary parties. No more framed photos on the wall. The life they built on borrowed identities had crumbled under its own weight. I kept my distance after the dust settled. No holiday cards, no calls, just quiet. My business picked up steadily. Clients started coming from referrals, people who heard about the case through industry groups. One of them was a property manager who had worked with my mother years ago. She reached out directly. I always wondered why so many deals seemed off. Thanks for exposing it. I pulled my own reports and caught a few irregularities. Word spread in real estate circles. The story became a cautionary tale. I started getting messages from other agents and photographers who suspected similar issues in their families. I pointed them to the resources Karen had shared: free credit monitoring tools, state complaint forms, and legal aid hotlines. My aunt and cousin stayed in touch. We met for coffee once a month. My aunt bought a small house with the restitution money. She paid off her remaining debts and set up a trust for her grandchildren. Nathan advanced quickly at his new bank. He told me once, "I used to think family meant covering for each other. Now I know it means protecting each other from harm." My sister kept her job but transferred to a different firm. The co-signing issue stayed civil. She paid a small settlement to one of the lenders. She texted me 6 months later. "I get why you did what you did. I wish I had seen it sooner," I replied with one line. Seeing it is the first step. My parents never reached out again. Last I heard through a distant cousin, they were living off Social Security and part-time work. The big house, the anniversary parties, the image they curated for decades gone. They had chosen control over honesty. The consequences were theirs alone. Looking back, the anniversary party wasn't the beginning. It was the moment the mask slipped. What followed wasn't revenge. It was accountability. When someone uses your name, your credit, your trust to build their life, you have every right to take it back. Family doesn't give anyone a free pass to steal. If you're reading this, and something feels off with your finances, unexplained, inquiries, mail you didn't expect, or pressure to sign things, quickly pull your credit reports today. File a fraud alert. Talk to a lawyer. Don't wait for the mask to fall. The truth has a way of coming out, and when it does, it changes everything. Thanks for sticking with me through this story. If you've dealt with anything similar, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear how you handled it. Hit that like button if it resonated. Subscribe for more real stories and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. See you soon.